Well, gardeners, it's been a while, and don't worry, it's not because I found any sort of employment. A lot of good things have been happening in the garden, which is very exciting, that I'm going to tell you about. Almost all of the things that I've planted thus far, with the exception of, and if you've watched my YouTube shorts, with the exception of the tomato plants that disappeared overnight. One of the first things that I started harvesting was our peas. Now, the peas were very interesting because they started growing all at once, and there's a bunch of them to pick. My biggest issue was that I didn't know what I was looking for when it came to when I should pick the peas, and so I started looking online being like, alright, at what point in time should I pick these peas? And then I ran into the conundrum of what kind of peas did I grow? Because apparently there's different kind, and I just recklessly planted peas, didn't know what kind, and then when it came to fruition, couldn't figure out to save my life. So I did a lot of digging through the seed packets that I have that were like torn to shreds because I opened them, trying to figure out what the fuck did I grow. There's different types of peas. I think one of the ones that I thought it was originally, I think is called a shelling pea, which is basically like when you eat a bunch of like a bowl of peas where they're like individual little peas. That is what I thought I grew. Turns out that's not the case, which is good because I think the idea of squeezing out each and every little pea only to have like a tiny bowl of peas made me kind of sad and kind of like, dang, Carrie, you put all this effort and resources into a tiny bowl of peas. Thankfully, this was not the case. So I went through my seed packets, and I found that what I had grown was called an Oregon Sugar Pod 2. It did have the technical science name, like the genus species name on the packet, which I'm going to put here because I don't remember it off the top of my head. And then I looked that up, and I was like, wow, I know the name of it now. That should be helpful. Honestly, it wasn't very helpful. It looked more like in the snow pea, snap pea family, more than like the shelling peas. So what I did was I popped it off, and I took a bite, because apparently the English shelling peas, the pod is a lot more fibrous and not delicious. This pod was relatively nice and crisp, and so I kind of placed it somewhere like a snap pea, and so that's how I've been choosing to eat them. So what I like to do is use it instead of like a cracker for hummus. I'll use a little snap pea. You can make stir fry like Asian dishes with it, so that's how I plan to use them. We have a good number of them now. I probably pick 1 or 2 a day. I realize you're not supposed to refrigerate them because they get all weird and soft, so I'm just keeping them out after I harvest them. So that's where our peas are at. We surprisingly have butter lettuce. So in the first box garden that I have behind me, I planted 2 heads of lettuce. One died and was completely replaced by weeds, and then the other one was kind of wimpy, and I really didn't think it was gonna make it, but I am completely and totally shocked to find that we actually have leaves coming off of it. I haven't taken any off yet. I think if I want to make a salad or something with that lettuce, I'll probably harvest it day of. My biggest fear, because it looks so soft and it's butter lettuce, so it's not as crunchy, is that if I pick it and don't eat it right away, it's just gonna like shrivel up and die. So I'm waiting to harvest that, but I'm just kind of surprised she's here. It's gotten up to about 80 and 90 degrees some days in Texas, so I thought the sun would completely eviscerate the lettuce, but it didn't, so I think that's great. So I'm really surprised that kale popped off. Kind of like the lettuce, I thought the heat would just eviscerate it and that it wasn't going to grow. It was getting so big that it was basically pushing up on the chicken wire that I'd put over that box garden. So I was like, okay, I have got to harvest at least some of it. Some of the leaves were larger and like palm size and not crinkly like I imagined it. So the way you buy it at the grocery store, I think of it as like dark green, very like crinkly looking, not as flat as these outer leaves looked. But kale is kale. I think it's fine. It might just have been the weather, and the weather changes might have affected the color or the texture, but either way I was like, this is pushing up on the chicken wire and I need to harvest some. So it's recommended the way you harvest kale is to start with the outer leaves. You can pick it when it's about palm size, so we had a couple that were palm sized, and you want to start with the outer pieces, and when you harvest it you want to go at the very base of the plant. So it basically has this big leaf and then this pretty long stem, and then you hit the base of the plant. And so it is recommended that you snap it off at the base. It is supposed to grow back. I'll have to look into it a little bit more, but it was basically like, yeah, if you do that, it should regenerate more. There are leaves at the center that are still growing, so maybe this is going to create more room for them. These newer sprouts have that kind of crinkly texture, and so I'm like, okay, now this is starting to look like kale. What I did do wrong is that when I put the kale inside, I wash it, which you should always wash your vegetables from your garden. Please do not eat your vegetables without washing them. Multitude of reasons. Anyways, and then I put it in the fridge and it like shriveled up and wilted so quickly. So I have to figure out, one, why that happened, and then two, how do I prevent that, or what am I supposed to do differently? In our second box garden, I have planted 4 cucumber plants. Because they're all vines, I tried to space them out as much as possible, putting them each in the 4 corners of the box. Of the 4, one just didn't make it. There was one almost freeze within like the first 2 weeks of it being in ground, and 3 of them made it. One of them just shriveled up and died. I thought about replacing it, but instead I figured I'm gonna keep the 3 in there and it'll give it a little bit more space. Perhaps 4 was too many to begin with, so I'm just going to leave that 4th spot open so that those other 3 have some room to grow, some space to spill over to. But otherwise, these 3 are looking really healthy. The freeze caused a little bit of yellowing of the leaves, but that quickly went away and more leaves sprouted since. One of the issues I am having with the cucumber box garden is that I did a layer of landscaping fabric over, and then I cut holes where each plant was. And while the plants are growing just fine, there are still a lot of weeds and grass just popping out in any small space possible, which is really annoying because that was the purpose of the landscaping fabric. What I'm realizing now, especially with the butternut squash plants, is that the go-to move should have been layering the landscape fabric first, then the soil, and the plant. And so I may have gone wrong there, but it's a little late to fix that on the cucumber box garden because stuff's already in the ground, it's already growing, I'm not going to replace it. The butternut squash is looking really healthy. There's almost no weeds in that box because I did the landscaping fabric first before the dirt and the plants. Looking super healthy. I have a feeling that they're going to flower soon, so I'm going to give it I'm going to say 3 weeks. I'm going to say 3 weeks. I could be wrong, but I guess we'll kind of see how it goes. Last and least, I had put 3 tomato plants in our lasagna garden, and everything was going fine. Things were great. I don't think this has anything to do with like the contents or the way the lasagna garden is, but they just didn't make it. I woke up one day, went to go check on them, and I was like, okay, they're just gone. It wasn't like they had shriveled up and died. There was no roots. There were no like dead stems, no leaves. I was like, there wasn't even a hole. There wasn't even like a hole dug as if like a squirrel had dug it up and eaten it. It's just gone. It's just flat dirt. And so I don't know what the hell happened. I'm still kind of deciding what I want to do with that box. Tomato plants really were the best thing to put in there because they require such nutrient-dense soil, and that is like the purpose of the lasagna garden. So I kind of want to put tomato plants in there again. In terms of when I should plant tomato plants, you can really plant them whenever, spring or summer. So I might do it again. I think I'm just a little butthurt about what happened. to the last one. Oh my god, the sun is coming out. I'm getting eviscerated. Oh. Okay. What is kind of funny too is I think one of the weeds, or one of the things that are kind of randomly growing in the cucumber garden, is a tomato plant from like last year. Tomato seeds always seem to like find a way. Like, I've had it where I planted a tomato plant, I thought it completely died, and then it just came back to life, had a bunch of tomatoes randomly. So it's really funny how if the seeds drop somewhere in your garden, you'll have surprise tomato plants from time to time. So that might be what we have in there, but I don't have room for it. I don't think it's gonna go well in that box, so I'm gonna have to sadly remove it. I don't even know if I can transplant it into the lasagna garden. That might be worth trying, but it might just be easier for me to do some tomato seed starters indoors and just move them out and try again. I've really never had issues with squirrels in my tomato plants in the past, so I'm just confused of like, why now? / who or what? Oh my god, the sun. Who or what happened to them? I'm a little peeved, but it's fine. I'm over it. It's good. So that's where things are at right now. I'm excited to see where things go. Again, right now, we're getting a lot of peas, make a lot of salads, a lot of hummus, some stir fry. So I want to do a section on cooking some of these things and ways I can use some of our harvests in the kitchen, because I like to try creative stuff, and I also like to try new things. I'm not really like a kale person, and so having kale and being able to harvest kale will give me a really good excuse to try new recipes, to try kale and different things. So thank you, gardeners. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.